This is the Desi Doubts podcast. Navigating mental health, societal expectations, and identity is not easy. I'm Dr. Sonalee Joshi, PhD in clinical psychology, therapist, and visual artist.
I'm Rupal Joshi, co-founder of South Asian Americans for Change, single mom, and lawyer. We share our personal stories and the most up-to-date research to give you the tools to figure it out one step at a time.
You don't have to do this alone. You've got this, and we've got you.
Welcome back to the Desi Doubts podcast. This is our final episode, Unscripted Brain Rot.
What a name.
I know.
What a name.
It is actually like the perfect name for this episode, which I think I'm right about this, but it's both of our favorites? This is my favorite.
I think so. I think it's a great one. Yeah. And it is the season finale, but who are you?
Oh, right. I'm Rupal Joshi.
Okay. I'm Sonalee Joshi. Hopefully you know us by now, but if not, if this is your first episode, this is going to be a ride for you. Yeah. So Unscripted Brain Rot is kind of what it sounds like, which is us at the full height of our delirium answering questions from a lot of different people about all things mental health. There's some
non-mental health.
Some non-mental health questions. Yeah. We were stumped by a few of those, huh?
Yeah.
At least I was. I didn't know what to say for a bunch of those. And I think whatever came out of my mouth was equally surprising. Yeah.
This one's fun.
It's a good time.
This one is really fun.
I think it's also when you get to know us a little bit more, which I know we talk about the deep stuff, but sometimes I also just want to know about the silly and superficial stuff too, and I feel like we get into both levels of that in this episode.
Yes.
That's
and
fun.
Nima is the one who is reading the questions to us, and it's a good time.
Yeah.
It's a good time. Well, we hope you enjoyed the episode, and also thank you so much for being on this journey with us. We will be back for season 2. This is just the beginning.
I know. I can't believe we have finally made it to the end of the season. It feels like we've just started this. But yeah, we hope you'll enjoy this episode and then tell us what you want in season 2. Really, give us that feedback. We're looking for it. And see you soon. Hey, y'all. This is Desi Doubts. I am Sonalee Joshi.
And I'm Rupal Joshi.
And this is the season finale of the season.
Season 1? Yeah. Season finale of the season.
Yes. And so for our season finale, we have been getting a lot of feedback that people want to get to know us a little bit more, which is fair. We're kind of awesome.
We are fucking awesome. Anyways, this is our last episode, and it's called Unscripted Brain Rot. And we have a very special guest here today that's going to help us. You want to introduce yourself?
I'd love to. Hi, I'm Nima Nardoni. I'm the Vice President of Operations for SAAFC for Change, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys.
So we've rounded up some questions from our listeners, and we have the lovely Nima here to ask us these questions. We haven't heard them at all. We're going to answer them in real time, and some of them might be about mental health. Some of them might be a little bit silly about us, about our backgrounds. I don't know.
We'll see.
Are you ready?
Let's do it. No?
Okay. Well, too bad.
I'm ready.
Okay. First question. I mean, you've kind of answered it, but we just want to double check and make sure, maybe triple check. Are you sure you guys are not related?
We took a DNA test. It's not happening. We're not
even
related.
1%?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. We didn't take a DNA test.
We could be. I don't know. But I don't think we are.
I don't think so.
Well,
but we
are.
I'm Gujarati.
Yeah.
And you're Marathi.
Yeah, I am Marathi. So
Yeah.
I don't think we're related. But it would be cool.
Yeah, not impossible, but
It's not impossible.
It isn't.
We won't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
I'm never going to take a DNA test.
I know.
though.
It's scary. I don't want them having that kind of data on
Yeah,
me.
me neither.
good point.
Next.
Okay, next question. Why the name Desi Doubts?
Oh, this is a really good question. So we had been playing around with a name for a while. I think it was one of the last meetings that we decided on a name. At the very first South Asian Americans for Change Gala, we had an interactive art experience along with, a panel discussion and an art market. And the interactive art experience was in these 4 rooms on the top level of the venue. And basically you walk into one of the rooms and there's beautiful art everywhere, and there were 6 jars. And everyone took a handful of pebbles when they went into that room, or marbles. Sorry, nobody says pebbles. Whatever, glass marbles. And each jar had a doubt on it. And it said things like, I'm not good enough because I'm not a doctor or a lawyer, or I'm not I'm not outspoken enough, or my parents aren't proud of me because X. Basically, like things that we are constantly thinking as Desis. And the exercise was you put a marble in for like each jar that you resonate with. And then after that, you go into the second room, and there was like this tree that we had that was just branches, and we had leaves on them. And we wanted people to take the Desi Doubt and turn it on its head and say things like, I'm valuable and amazing, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom, or even though I'm a teacher. And we had some like beautiful messages on there. Like one that really sticks out to me is, somebody put on the tree, my half-white family is good enough. And I just thought that was so beautiful. And so when we were thinking about the podcast, I explained this to you, and I was like, what about Desi Doubts? And you were like, well, what does that mean? I mean, like, you knew what it meant, but we were sort of talking about it. But I hadn't shared that story yet, right? Yeah. So like you aren't there yet?
No, and I think that's one of the things that really stuck with me is the fact that, like, I know you both are founding members. I joined the team a little bit later, and I immediately felt embraced by the whole kind of family that's been created here. And hearing that story gave me so much context as to why it was so easy to fit into this space, because you created this environment that allowed us to express ourselves and to really share those doubts. It wasn't just about like, oh, well, this is what I'm doing and I'm the most amazing person in the world and I'm going to share all my accomplishments. It was really like, no, we're here to actually talk about those vulnerable issues. And so that's why Desi Doubts like suddenly had so much meaning when you explained that to me. So I'm really glad that we got this question.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of like what we're doing in every episode, right? Like we take a topic and we kind of learn about it and turn it on its head and figure out ways to like embrace our culture and some of the things that come with it, while at the same time maybe setting aside the things that don't serve us anymore.
I love the answer, and I do remember those moments. It was transformative.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about those Desi Doubts was like everyone that went there, they didn't even put like one marble pebble into the jar. They did like multiple, which it was nice to see like everyone connecting for different reasons or having these shared doubts and then going into the other room and like turning into a positive affirmation.
Yeah.
So that was incredible.
One of my favorite memories from the first gala actually was putting that room together with Victor, your husband. And in case you didn't know, Victor's your husband.
Oh, wow. Hi, Victor.
Yeah, and he like put up one of like the very first leaves. It's crazy to think it's been like 2 years, 3 years. Anyways, yeah, so that's where the name came from. Great question.
That was. Okay. So, Sonalee, this is for you. Why did you decide to become a psychologist? And now are you the friends and family solver of problems?
100% no. Nobody listens to anything that I have to say. I'm kidding. No.
I do.
Yes.
Only half the time. Actually, just kidding.
No, I became a clinical psychologist because I shared this very early on in an episode, but I was going through my own mental health journey, and I went to college and started working with an amazing researcher who was also a clinical psychologist, and I started taking psych courses for the first time. And through those courses, I learned so much about myself, and I learned so much about mental health diagnoses that it was so validating. It gave me this power of like, I can do something. And my research has always been focused on brain research because originally I thought that that was the thing that was going to give legitimacy to mental health concerns. I was like, oh, if there's, if this is like other physical health conditions, this is in the brain, then we can figure it out. I still love neuroscience. I still love brain research. But what I have learned over the course of my career is that that's not the thing that's going to give us legitimacy. That's not the thing that's going to make mental health conditions valid. It's these conversations here. It's talking about it and being open about it. So over the course of my career, I feel very strongly about neuroscience research and brain research, and will continue to do that. But I've also started to have these kinds of conversations more and more. And so I actually have started to talk more with family and with friends and with people in my life about different things that people are going through. And that's been really eye-opening and really healing for me too, because I don't think I was able to do that as much when I was a kid, when I was going through some of these things too. So it has been really transformative for me to kind of come this far in my career. So thanks for letting me walk down memory lane a little bit.
And thank you for sharing, really, because I feel like this is what the space is for, is to open up, be vulnerable, and hopefully connect with someone else who's watching. Question for both of you. Which podcast are you guys currently listening to?
So I'm listening to, and I have been listening to this for years. I talked about this on our last episode. A bubble bath a day, a bubble bath a day keeps the therapist away. It's a podcast called Unfuck Your Brain by Cara Lowenthal, and I just really love it because it's all about thought work and changing the way you think, and how if you change your thoughts, you can really change your life. Because you brought this up earlier, that what we think is not at all tied to who we are. And there's another really good book, Untethered, like The Untethered Soul, that talks about how our thoughts are not who we are. So that's what I'm listening to right now.
Yeah, I am an avid podcast consumer. Most of my podcasts have nothing to do with mental health, because when I get off the clock, I just want to listen to horror podcasts usually, and also podcasts where people are just doing stuff that's off the wall. So one of my favorite podcasts in the past year has been We're Here to Help, because this is what I wish my job was. It's just a bunch of people calling in, and these two comedians are basically like just pitching random bits of advice very off the wall, and like getting people to like solve their like random problems that come through. And it's hilarious. They do such a great job of kind of working with the person who's on the call. And so that's been a fun one to unwind after a day of work.
I get that. Like, I don't like legal shows. Like, people are always like, do you watch Suits? And I'm like, I did. But like, no, I don't want to watch that. So I get it.
Yeah, I get that. Rupal, where do you get your pants?
Oh my God, my crazy pants?
All your crazy pants.
So if you don't know, I've been wearing, and this is a reason why you should check out the podcast on YouTube, not just listen to it. For some reason this year I've been really into crazy pants. So I have a collection of wild, crazy, colorful pants, and I've been wearing different pants every episode. These pants are from a brand called Seta, but I think all of the other pants I wore in this season are all from Dressed in Lala. So dressedinlala.com.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I keep saying I want to go shopping with you, because you've got the style. Like, it's.
I mean, retail therapy is also a thing.
It is. It is. It's important.
I love clothes. I love wearing colorful, loud things to like express my personality, and I feel like this year, maybe because I've been like working on myself a lot, I just feel like more comfortable wearing crazy things that I may not have worn like 5 years ago. Actually, I totally would have worn them 5 years ago, but I feel better about it now.
Yes. Okay. What South Asian cuisine or drink would you use to bribe an auntie or uncle to talk about mental health?
Oh my God.
Wow.
Is there one?
Yeah. I was going to say, I feel like the wrong answer is alcohol,
but it's an answer.
But it's an answer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like a good cup of chai usually is a good place to start any conversation. I don't know if I would bribe them with one, but it's something to bring people together.
Yeah, I feel like all of my like deep conversations with my mom have usually happened over like cha or coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We're not like a big lassi family.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really do that.
I also feel like I want to take a nap after a lassi. It doesn't like stimulate conversation as much.
Stimulate. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, here's another one. Do you think South Asian parents would rather you be a doctor with anxiety or a musician who's mentally tough?
I mean, I am a doctor with anxiety. I have a doctorate and anxiety. I think people are usually cool with that. No, I think I have been very fortunate to have parents who are super supportive of both my artistic side and my professional side and my very anxious side. They have been supporters for me for so long. So I don't think they would choose one or the other.
My parents would probably choose doctor with anxiety. No. My parents are kind of like, I call them like Indian hippies. Like, my dad is an architect and my mom's a real estate agent. She's had like 5 different careers. And I was supposed to go into fashion design. And when I told my dad I was going to law school, he was very disappointed in me. So I have like the opposite sort of like upbringing. So I think probably real talk, like they would rather me be a musician that was mentally strong. Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Okay. If South Asian parents had to choose between talking about feelings or talking about how much sugar is in your blood, which would they pick?
I feel like they're often interrelated somehow in these conversations that I have had with relatives. One usually correlates with the other through some evidence found in a WhatsApp forward. So yeah, I don't know. Again, I'm cheating by saying maybe both.
I feel like one causes the
Yes,
other.
yeah.
Usually, sometimes if the
Yes.
stigma's there, so they're related.
Yeah. My mom always wants to talk to me about feelings. So definitely that one. And I always want to talk to her about how much sugar she's eating. So I'm like, you need to be healthy, woman. So yeah.
Is South Asian mental health just an excuse for being dramatic? Or is it more like a full-on plot twist for a Bollywood movie?
Whoa. Say that again?
It was hard to digest. Is South Asian mental health just an excuse for being dramatic? Or is it more like a full-on plot twist in an epic Bollywood movie?
I see. Okay. I mean, I feel like I'm more dramatic when I'm doing well. Like I get to be more masala when I'm myself and have the full weight of my personality behind me. I feel like, mental health journeys are dramatic and silly and wonderful and scary all at the same time. But I think in and of itself, like having these conversations is certainly not dramatic, and it's not an excuse for attention. It is, just a great way to think about how to take care of ourselves and how to be those big, beautiful people we want to be.
I think this is a false dichotomy. All epic South Asian Bollywood movies are dramatic.
Yes.
So, and drama, as you said, is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
We love drama. We love
drama.
a little drama.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's fucking boring.
Yes, agreed.
I agree.
So, both.
Okay.
But it's not an excuse to be dramatic.
No. We're not using dramatic as like a negative term here. We don't subscribe to that. I think I can speak for both of us.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, drama is only good here.
Exactly. Bring us your drama.
Yes,
that's right.
Next.
Okay, what should I do if I run into my therapist? Can we grab drinks or should I run away and hide?
Ooh, this is a Sonalee question.
You don't have to run away and hide, but I am not allowed to say hi to you. I say this to my patients all the time, especially at the end of therapy. I legally cannot go up to you and be like, hi, how's it going? How's your mental health? Because that would be not super great. You are always usually welcome to come up to me and say something hi, if something, wonderful about how you're doing or whatever it might be. If I am having personal time, I do quite like my personal time, and I think many therapists do like their personal time off the clock, but I think you can discuss that with your therapist. I think there are certain lines, like you should not be grabbing drinks with your therapist.
Yeah. From like a person who has a long-standing relationship with their therapist, there is a line. I text with my therapist, and I actually invited her to the first gala. Which was huge. It was so nice, like seeing her out in the audience, like after everything I had gone through that year. So I think there are moments when it's okay to sort of like blur that line, but yeah, like let your therapist have their life.
I think if you have that conversation ahead of time too, they can kind of figure out what's in their ethical guidelines.
Yeah, and it's good to know that they're not allowed to say hi.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, because I feel bad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want people to think that I don't want to say hi to them or I don't like them.
Or that you're a rude person.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I remember hearing that in like my first session, and now that you said it just reminded me. So yeah, it's good to know.
Okay, great. How do therapists deal with religious and cultural beliefs that are that contrast the views of modern science and medicine?
That is a good question. I do have experience working with folks from a lot of different religious backgrounds, and I have come to see that no matter where I've been working, because I've worked all over. I've been in Michigan. I've done some of my training in Oklahoma. Now I'm based in Philly. I have patients from all kinds of backgrounds. And what I have really found is that at its core, religion is not so far off as we think it might be from some of the things that we talk about in therapy. So a lot of the times we actually do have people from religious clergy who we will talk to and consult with about different religious matters. So oftentimes, I mean, it's not always as at odds as we think it is, and we can find some kind of place of commonality. I think it is just a matter of thinking about like what the purpose is and the value behind engaging with religion is. And usually it is the same things that we're trying to achieve, like community, like finding some sense of value, some sense of higher power. All of these things are really adaptive. So I'm not against it. I think there are ways that we can work together with folks to make sure that we're doing things that are consistent with their religious values as well.
That's a great answer. And also I think like you've talked about in previous episodes, it's also like what your patient is trying to get out of it too. So you're trying to help them, and that might be something that they're seeking in a sense to like connect, right?
And one of the things I'll also share is that I've talked about self-disclosure a little bit here too, like talking about my own identities and what I share with my patients. Sometimes it is helpful for me to talk about my religious background in some context. I usually don't always share the same religious background. I was raised Hindu and I continue to practice in various ways. That's not usually the same background as many of my patients have, but I think knowing that and knowing that there's that level of respect there often makes people feel at ease. Like I'm not gonna, come because I think there is this idea that therapists and Western medicine sort of demonizes religion in a way that I hope wouldn't be the case and wouldn't turn people off from therapy.
Okay. How do I become my therapist's favorite patient? And Rupal, do you think you're your therapist's favorite?
Oh, I am definitely your favorite. No, I have no idea, but I think I'm totally favorite.
Yeah. What makes you think that you're your therapist's favorite patient?
This is like she's gonna listen to this and be like, I'm never talking to you again. She knows I'm doing a podcast too. Don't leave me. I need you. No, I have no idea. All I know is that we have like an awesome relationship. And I think, again, like my experience starting therapy, like my situation was just so severe that she knew that I was like just in distress. So I was, again, like I've talked about this in prior episodes, but I was a mom of a newborn 8-week-old while my marriage was on pause because my husband was in inpatient rehab, and it was during COVID. So like she wasn't even seeing patients at the time. Like the vaccine had not been out yet, but she told me like, I think after we talked for the first time, she was like, I think you need to come in. Like, we need to work together in person. And so I went there 2 to 3 times a week, like during the pandemic, which I think it was like allowed. Like it wasn't like against like the stay-at-home order or something like that. But we just started off in such a severe way, or like a distressing time period in my life, that we had a really close bond. And I think like another bad thing happened like a few months later or maybe a year later, and like I called her at like 9:00 at night. She was like, come to the cottage, which is where she treats her patients. I don't know where she lives because she treats her patients somewhere different from where she lives. And I was like, okay, I'll be at the cottage. And I like sort of sat in her room and just like cried for a while. So like we just have like a really great bond. But maybe she's like that with everyone.
She's just that amazing.
Yeah, I do know some of her other patients. So, we'll see. I don't know.
Definitely the favorite.
I'll never know. Definitely the favorite. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. In my notes, I always make sure to know if, this patient is my favorite patient, this patient is my least favorite patient. That's usually very clinically indicated and important for treatment. No, obviously I don't have favorite patients. I do.
Tell us the real answer. Come on. Is it me? I'm just kidding. She's not my therapist.
I was like, this is not.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation after that. No, I have been very surprised throughout my career. Sometimes the patients that I really jive with are not the patients that I have ever expected that I would. And that's kind of lovely and surprising, and the beautiful thing about being able to interact with all kinds of different people on a daily basis. I will say, to like subvert this question a little bit and actually get it, like sometimes people will ask me like, what does my therapist actually want to know in a first session, or like how do I like meet expectations. I have a close friend whose wife is one of my colleagues, so we're both psychologists, and she hears us kind of like talking about all the things that come up in therapy, and she's like, yeah, like I hear you all talking about this. Like, what do I actually do to like make my therapist feel like I'm moving in the right direction? And I think my answer to her and to anyone else would really be just like being open and honest about what you can do. I think it's more frustrating than anything, not for, not personally, but for the sake of treatment, when someone is sort of not willing to tell you the whole story. Like, again, I can't do all my homework this week, or I'm not telling you this big kind of important thing that's getting in the way of, me setting some treatment goals or something. So like the more open and honest you can be with your therapist, I think your therapist is going to love you because they're going to be able to work with you and meet your needs better. Don't feed me things. I know that's a weird thing to say, but sometimes I've had people who like genuinely want to cook for me, and it's very sweet, but don't the way to my heart is through food, but not if you're my patient.
This doesn't have to do like a lot with a question, but I have a question for you. You've said homework a few times, and like I don't think I've ever been given homework in therapy.
Okay.
Like I've gotten like we've done like diagrams and things like that like in session, but I've never gotten like an assignment. Like, can you talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with my theoretical orientation, which is basically just like the type of therapy that I'm trained in and tend to practice in, I do mainly cognitive behavioral therapies and mainly behavioral like exposure therapies. So what that means is that
sounds scary.
It is a little
Sounds
sometimes
scary.
because we are often trying to target anxiety disorders and making people do hard things that are in line with their goals.
That is scary homework.
It is scary
She would
homework.
put you in a cage with birds.
Oh my God, no.
Maybe, but only if it was a goal of yours. And
It's not a goal.
I won't put you in a cage full of birds, I promise.
It's your worst fear too.
I know.
No one's going in a cage full of birds. That is not the takeaway from this
You need
question.
to sign a contract.
I will sign that contract. But basically, I often talk to patients about how, like, if you're coming to therapy for like one therapeutic hour a week, that's like one out of like, I forget how many hours are in a week. It's like 168 or 178 or something like that. So all of those other hours, if you're just waiting for therapy each week, you could be using those hours to also do therapeutic things that are going to help you towards your goal. So especially with exposure therapies, which are usually designed for anxiety disorders, PTSD, OCD, and a few other things, it is really beneficial for learning if we have specific homework in between sessions. So I'll often work with patients in session to craft an exposure plan and think about, okay, throughout your week, what kinds of little experiments are you going to try to test out? How are you going to put this into practice so that you can gather some data, really become your own scientist, and then bring some of that evidence back into the room? We can think about, how did that go? What do we want to do differently? We can really learn from your life, because us talking about those kinds of things in those very specific situations doesn't always give us the evidence that we need. So sometimes we got to try things out and see what happens. So it's kind of a very scientific approach to it. And that's why it does kind of involve some homework.
I gotta say though, like, what brown person doesn't love doing homework? Like, do you grade them? Do they get A's?
No, I do frequently have to tell my patients that I can never give them an A for their homework. But that also means that I can never give them an F. So if folks aren't doing their homework, the first thing I will often talk to them about is why, and like, how do we make this more accessible for you? It should be homework in service of your goals. Again, not homework to please me or to, recycle this pattern of shame that people are often in.
This is so tricky. I just realized I have had homework. It just was not labeled as homework.
Probably because you would have been triggered.
I'm like, you're talking, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she made me do homework. I just did not know it. Okay.
I should not have spoiled the secret,
I feel like the
guess.
bubble was popped.
It's okay. It's okay. As long as I'm still a favorite, it's all good. All right, next.
Okay. Any movies that represent mental health well? For either of you, if you felt like you've connected with something.
I have a really good one. So Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind has been one of my favorite movies since I was like 17, I think. Hopefully it was out then. And watch it have like come out like after I turned 17 and people are like, you fraud. And I continue to watch it like maybe not like once a year, but maybe like once every like 2 years. And if you haven't seen the movie without like giving away the plot, it's Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet, and part of the movie is like they were in a very tumultuous relationship, and they go through this like technology like treatment thing where they get their memories erased. And I think every time I watch the movie, I like learn something new. And when I was very young, it was mostly about like, oh my God, like tragic love is like living deeply and freely, and like, it's worth all the pain. And now when I watch it, I continue to have that like belief of like, you're not living if you don't live deeply and freely. But there are so many other like nuances to it, which are like, would I have not wanted this experience at all? How have like I changed as a person because of this experience? And if I went and erased it from my memory, like, would I be who I am today? Would I just find myself back in that same moment and repeating that cycle because for some reason I need to have that experience to get to where I need to go? So that kind of reminds me of like my therapy journey, or like my mental health journey of like these. I'm not a believer of like everything happens for a reason, but I am a believer of like humans are meaning-making machines, and that's how we experience and sort of translate our experiences. And so understanding why we're attaching meaning to something is helpful to digest.
I love that movie. It is such a good movie.
I
think you're so right. I think there's so much that we can learn from having those memories and from being able to move forward with those intact. So yeah, Charlie Kaufman, love him. I think some of the other things that I don't know, I struggle with media about mental health just because I'm so in it, kind of like you were talking about, like not really loving to watch media with lawyers in it and that kind of thing. It's hard because I think every depiction of mental health, every depiction of therapy is a little bit different. I have really loved, my best friend and I frequently talk about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, which does have a very heavy emphasis on therapy, and was done so with some guidance from therapists on at least in the later seasons, I believe. So that's a great one. I also love.
Wait, I'm thinking about the wrong thing. What's Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
It's a TV show. It's a TV show. Yeah,
I thought it was a Ryan Gosling movie where Steve Carell wears a lot of layers. That's not what I'm thinking.
That's a
Crazy Stupid Love.
I do love that. I don't know if that's the best depiction of mental health.
That is not the best demonstration.
I was like, I don't remember therapy.
I do love
being
that
in
movie.
I just remember Ryan Gosling being in that movie.
A whole different therapy there.
All right, ignore me. Continue.
You're good. Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is a musical TV show that is very different than Crazy Stupid Love, but has a very excellent depiction of a mental health journey for a young woman. The other one that I don't know if I would recommend it or not, but it was one of the first conversations that I had with like my parents about mental health in like an Indian movie, like a Bollywood movie, is Dear Zindagi, which I think was a big one for a lot of people. That was really impactful for me to see, a young Indian girl kind of going through her own mental health journey too. So those are two like very focused on mental health. Two that are like not at all focused on mental health per se, but that I love personally are actually the movie Uptown Girls. I've been thinking about it a lot.
Brittany Murphy.
Yeah, Brittany Murphy and Dakota Fanning. Just like there's so much. And watching that at different ages, kind of like you were saying about Eternal Sunshine, it just brings me to tears for different reasons every single time. There's so much to do with mental health in there, even though it's not strictly about that. The other one that has been meaningful for me throughout my journey, it's a TV show again, but BoJack Horseman has been, and Tuca and Birdie have both been very great animated TV shows about like cartoon animals, but they do such a lovely job of kind of hitting at hard-hitting mental health topics too.
Okay, just a couple more questions left. How do you explain mental health and mental health care to your friends and family?
This is a good one. It like has both of us like,
Yeah.
I think there's sort of like two answers. So the first answer is, hey, I'm having a mental health problem and I need to communicate this to you and either like set some boundaries or let you know that I need help. So that's like sort of one conversation I'm imagining in response to this question. And the other conversation I'm imagining in response to this question is, if it's like, maybe a little bit more of like a negative experience, if like somebody asks you like, oh, like, you know, why are you going to therapy? Like, go do yoga instead or something like that. Or like, just pray, do Hanuman Chalisa 100 times. Like, that, which is for some people, like that can help. That can be one of many different things you can do to like, you know, get your mental health back on track. So in response to the first question, I think one, making sure that the person that you are reaching out to communicate this message is in a space where they can receive it.
Yeah.
So not sort of like calling your sister on the fly and saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, I have something important I want to talk to you about. Can you give me a call when you're free for like 20 minutes? That way you're not getting disappointed by the response. Yes. When it's something that's out of their control. Like if she, for example, if I call you and like, you know, I know that you're dropping your girls off to dance, like I'm not going to get upset that you're like, I can't talk about this right now. Like, so setting that to sort of like set yourself up for like, you know, the best chance of success, I guess, of getting a response that you want and giving that person the ability to do so. And then the other one is knowing what your goals are in the conversation. So is my goal of this conversation to ask this person for help? Is my goal of this conversation just to tell my mom I'm going to therapy and give her an FYI and set a boundary and say, I am doing this. I don't need your input. I just wanted to let you know. Or is my goal, you know, talking to a friend and saying, hey, Sonalee, I'm starting therapy and I know that I might be scared to do it and I have a sense that or feeling that like I might run away or I might quit. Like, can you keep me accountable? Mm-hmm. So like set the goal and figure out what you want from that conversation and give it the best chance of success and then go and have that conversation. And then for the second one, which is like the more negative, I guess, experience is when you're in a mental health journey and you know that you need help, you are the person that knows yourself the best, and the people that love you will usually be supportive. And it's not the case for everyone, right? Like your mom and dad love you, but they might not be supportive of therapy, and that doesn't mean they don't love you. Right. But there are hopefully people in your life, like one or two people that can be supportive about it and really rely on those relationships and do your best to kind of set the other stuff to the side. Like let it roll off and don't give it more space than it deserves because you know what you need and you need to stay focused on that and not on other people. My 2 cents.
For sure. I mean, I can't add anything.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, I actually don't want to add anything to that because I think that's a beautiful way of kind of opening up about your own mental health. I guess the only other thing that I'll say is that sometimes when people are on their own mental health journeys, the only thing I caution against is sort of like a one-size-fits-all model for everyone. So just being really thoughtful about how you're saying like this worked for me or this is the journey that I'm on and maybe not making that recommendation to everyone else because everyone's kind of trying to go through their own system and we can suggest things or you know say like yeah again this worked for me but hopefully you'll find something that works for you as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for the questions and the answers. Just one quick thing, like a last minute line to the audience about like your 2 cents, what you want them to take away from this entire season, or even just like a 1-word vomit about Desi Doubts.
Yeah. So all season, since I've been doing this, I've actually been talking to a number of other therapists, other people in my own professional life about like, what do you wish people knew? Because we have a unique opportunity. And I know a lot of academics, a lot of clinicians who don't often get the chance to kind of talk like this in a forum like this. So I think the first message is just that I'm super grateful for this platform because this is so much of the content that I wish that I had as a patient in my early life. And this is the kind of content that I hope people who haven't started their mental health journeys will, start to get, so at least they can start thinking about what's right for them. So first things first, I'm grateful. When I was talking to my colleagues and other people in my life, I think the bottom line it kind of boiled down to 2 things. One is that through your own mental health journey, we all just feel that it's so important to be able to hold space and feel your emotions. I don't think we're really equipped or naturally inclined as a species to really just sit in some of those feelings that we're having about any given thing. We're ready to move on to the next thing. We're ready to, kind of just move on from those big emotions that we're having. So sitting in those emotions and just knowing that those emotions are valid is thing number one. And thing number two that came from some of these conversations was also around the idea of shame, right? When you're starting your mental health journey or when you're making any big change, there's often this feeling like, why didn't I do this sooner? Or like, why did I let myself be in this place for so long? And that can keep us from moving forward. And I just want to remind folks that like the things that we do, the things that we think are like it's all designed to keep us safe. We did that for a reason. It served us for one reason or another for so long. It might not be serving you in the new contexts or the new situations that you find yourself in moving forward. And so giving yourself permission to move on and to do something differently than you normally would is something that you can do. So maybe those are my two takeaways from the collective of therapists.
How about you, Rupal?
So I think something that's so important in our community, which I'm sure you read about in like your literature, I've read about it in sort of like more legal literature, is this concept of like intersectionality. Mm-hmm. And I think that we as a community have so many identities that we're stacking on top of each other. American, South Asian, woman, LGBTQ plus, whatever identities, wife, mother, worker, whatever identities you have. And all of those identities come with like a set of societal expectations and structures. And I think we as a community sometimes do not talk enough about the weight of all of those things and how conflicting they are. And why a lot of us struggle so much with mental health. Like, it makes sense. There are so many confusing messages that we have grown up with. And so if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling, if you're having suicidal ideations, like, don't beat yourself up about it. Like, I don't think a lot of communities deal with the same thing, but like, it's really hard growing up the way that we grew up. And it's really hard being in this modern age as well, where we all look at each other all the time on social media and this and that, and we're comparing each other. And so, I mean, it's totally fine to seek therapy. It's totally fine to take medication. Like, and once you accept that point, then you can start taking those identities and setting aside like the conflicts and weaknesses and, difficulties that come with them, and embrace the strengths, and then like move forward in your life like with like such conviction and like purpose and just knowing of who you are and who you want to be with sort of like intentionality. That's how I feel about like my therapy journey. I feel like I've set all the shit aside that like I don't appreciate and that I don't like, and embrace the things that I do like. And now I feel so much more purposeful moving through my life, and it's easier to make decisions, and I don't like second guess myself as much. I mean, it's a, process, but so people who are like thinking about it, is it worth it? Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth getting the help.
That was it. You survived.
Well, thank you, Nima, for asking us such excellent questions. I'm actually like reflecting on a lot of the things that we've talked about today and all season. I can't believe we've made it through a whole season of Desi Doubts. It's been so much fun. We've talked about so many things, and I'm excited to keep the conversation going. So, well, thank you for such a great season, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe, hit the like button, follow us on @SA for Change on Instagram, and @Desi Doubts Pod on Instagram. We're also on all the other socials. Anything that we referenced, like book-wise, media-wise, whatever, like that'll all be in the show notes. And we're excited to keep chatting.
See you next time.
Bye. All right, so that's a wrap for season 1 of the Desi Doubts Pod. How are you feeling?
We have covered so much ground this season. I can't even believe it. I feel like we've covered a lot about mental health, and we've covered a lot of good educational content. We've kind of talked about our own personal journeys. We've interviewed some great folks this season, but we've also covered a lot about culture and identity and community, which I didn't kind of expect that when we started the season. I don't know about you. Did you expect us to get that into like the community aspect of things?
I didn't, but I'm glad that we did because I feel like it's such an important piece. You can't really separate the two.
I agree.
As first-gen immigrants, like it's just such a big part of who we are.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we did, and I'm glad that you gave the backing for why it's important. So yeah, we covered so much, but also so much left to talk about.
Definitely. Yeah, it's not the end. It's not the end of our journey. We've just scratched the surface. I feel like this season was really about change and really about like taking that first step and building a foundation to allow you to explore your own mental health and what you need from your future. And I'm hoping that season 2, season 3, season 56 will be about all of this stuff under the surface and, getting into so many more topics. We've had so many good pitches from people about things that they want to hear from us. We welcome so many more. And we're excited to have some new great guests and some new great conversations with people. So yeah, keep it coming.
I also am excited to do more of this, right? Some of our like one-on-one talks, which I feel like also come with just so much great insight. We get to share our experiences, as you said, and then we get to learn a lot of like the education piece from you. So I'm excited for both. Definitely. All of the great guests and like continuing for us to, chit chat.
Right. And I don't want to, I know you've been so kind and so, You've fluffed me up a lot this season of like you're the expert.
I'm your biggest fan.
I'm your biggest fan though. I think that's what I want to say. Like I learned so much from you too when we talk, and I feel so connected and so much like so much comes out of this. So I don't want to undervalue. Like you have had so many experiences that I think our listeners can learn from that I've certainly learned from this season. So it's a love fest all around.
Yeah, I know. And I love the educational you, but I also love the person you. Like the lived experience that you bring also I think is just, it's great. Yeah. It's awesome seeing the similarities between sort of the very different struggles that we've had.
Definitely.
All right. Well, definitely let us know what you think. We are at Desi Doubts Pod on Instagram. We are Desi Doubts Pod at SAAforchange.org is our email address. And we are just so happy to connect with you guys and build this little community and to keep it going.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time.
Desi Doubts Podcast is a production of South Asian Americans for Change, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional mental health care or therapy. Desi Doubts is hosted by Dr. Sonalee Joshi and Rupal Joshi. Our guest for this episode is Nima Nardoni. It's produced by Nima Nardoni, Kirti Chandrasepa, Megha Pathak, and Nithya Cherakuru. It's edited and mixed by Ravi Ray. Filming and pre-production for this episode was by Ankur Garg. Our theme music is by Rianjali. For comments and questions, email us at desidoubtspod@saaforchange.org and follow us at Desi Doubts Pod on Instagram. If you enjoyed the episode and are feeling extra kind, please also give us a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify.